So it's quite likely by now you've probably seen the AI TikTok homeless man trend. It is taking over social media. And in today's video, I'll show you how you can do this for completely free. So in order to do this trend, you're of course going to need a location or whatever it is that you want to take your picture of. So of course, start by taking a picture of perhaps a sofa or outside of your front door. Just be careful that when you do take these pictures, just remember that there are weirdos on the internet. So don't take anything that would reveal your location, as the internet is a pretty crazy place. So one of the first images that you're going to want to get is of course a picture of the outside of your apartment. Just as I said before, make sure that you don't get the entire thing in. That way individuals can't stalk you and people on the internet won't know where you live, because considering the trend is very viral at the moment, it's quite likely that you will get a lot of views doing this. Now, what I've done for this specific instance is I've actually used AI to generate this picture because I don't want to give out exactly the exterior of my apartment. But what I'm going to do is once you have that base image, you want to then come over to Google Gemini. And so what you want to do is then paste that image in. Then we can head on over to tools and click create images. And now what we can do is using this banana tool, we are now going to describe what we'd like to add into the image. So now I'm going to say, add a homeless man standing just outside the apartment, looking scruffy, like he wants to come inside. Now what Google is going to do is it's going to generate that image and it's actually going to add that person there. So all we have to do is wait a few seconds and then eventually we will get the correct image. And so now what we can see here is we have the updated image along with the homeless man. So this is of course going to be the start of the prank. Most of these pranks start when the homeless man is entering the house. So what we can do here now is save this image because this is going to be the first image that you would likely send. So now that you've got this image, you can either just simply screenshot this or you can simply save this image to your device. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we then continue this onto the rest of the house. So what we're now going to do is we're going to get another picture of somewhere else in our apartment. Now remember, try not to take the picture in a way that reveals the location of your apartment. So once again, I'm now going to then get that second picture. And once again, mine is personally generated with AI because of course I'm protecting my privacy. So what I would do now using this picture right here, and I've just decided to generate a simple interior of my house. Well, not my actually house, but just an AI house. And so now what I will do is I will say, generate a picture of the same homeless man, but make him stand inside my apartment. So now what Gemini is going to do, and this should be free for about 5 to 10 uses. What it will do, it was actually put that homeless man in this second image. It's very important that you do this all within the same chat window because it needs to be able to ensure it has the reference image man here so that it can now place that man here. So we can see right here, this gave us somewhat of an error. So what I can do now is I can simply make a quick adjustment to this. And this is perfectly normal. AI sometimes might give you errors. And I'm actually glad this error did happen because I can now quickly show you how to overcome this. I can now just simply say, because that angle didn't work, put the homeless man and make him lie on the ground. And make him lie on the ground inside my apartment. So you can see that there. So now you guys can see that after Gemini has generated this picture, this is a much more realistic picture. We still have the apartment picture right here. And we actually now have that same homeless man in another different angle. So we can start to see how the narrative starts to form. So the first image here, the homeless man is coming into the apartment. Then the second image we have here is of course the homeless man sleeping on the ground. Now this is where things start to get more and more believable on the other end because the person is starting to realize that, wow, the homeless man was outside the door and now he's actually sleeping on the ground. Now, this is, of course, where we want to take things a step further. So once again, we're now going to take things a step further, continuing that same exact narrative by moving on to the kitchen. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to copy this image. I would suggest that you save the base image. Of course, it's quite likely that you're taking this on your phone. So I'm just going to click copy this image. Then, of course, I'm going to go over to Gemini. I'm going to hit paste in. And remember, you still want to be in that same chat window because the tutorial still needs the homeless man for context. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, put the homeless man in this picture and make him look like he's opening the fridge. So now what Gemini will do is put the homeless man in this exact picture right here, and it's going to make him look like he's opening the fridge in search for food. This further drives the narrative that there's actually someone in your home. So now we can see here, this image actually didn't generate correctly. So all I'll need to do is simply click this button right here to redo said image. And in the event that sometimes your image doesn't generate correctly, you can either hit the redo button or you can change the prompt to be a bit more simplistic. So for example, he doesn't need to be opening the fridge, but he could be standing in the room. But here we can see that this image may be good enough. So you can see right here that he is opening the fridge. I do know that this fridge is closed and it looks like there's a new kind of object here. But like I said, if we don't want to do that, we can simply take this base image here and we can use this image and simply just have him standing in there looking confused. Now, I think so far, this is still really, really good because it is consistently selling the narrative. But of course, all we need to do now is, of course, bring things to its final conclusion. So what we need to do now is add the final, and that's usually in the bedroom. So I'm actually going to take this image here from ChatGPT, and then what I'll ask Gemini to do is I'll ask it to actually put this homeless man and make it seem as if he's cuddled up on this bed, lying there comfortably. So for the second prompt, what I've done now is said put the homeless man on the bed and make it look like he's asleep. And the reason that we've done 4 images here is that so we can craft the entire narrative. If you just do one image, it isn't as believable. But if there is an entire story from start to finish and an entire narrative, it's actually much more believable. Of course, this is a fun and lighthearted prank, but it should show you when generative AI is used in such cases, it's really effective at getting you the final results. Now, the image you can see here looks really, really effective. We can see that the man is asleep on the bed. And in some cases, I'm pretty sure this would infuriate people because as you can see, he's got his shoes on the bed. And of course, he's got his belongings with him. So this is super, super believable. Now, once you've got all of these images, of course, it's up to you to choose what kind of prank you'd like to pay. But I would recommend that for these images, when you are saving these images, you either screenshot them so it still has that grainy feel, or you save them and then you crop them. Because most people won't realize that in the bottom right-hand side here, there is a little icon that is a watermark icon that essentially proves that this image is AI generated. Now, I do know most people are essentially doing these images to their parents or whatnot, but at the same time, if you're trying to trick your younger friends, they might see this image in the bottom right and they might realize that an app was created this and they might get thrown off. So when you're exporting these images, be sure to crop that out just to have it be a little bit more realistic. Now, this is going to be a question that is probably going to be in the comment section, so I will just answer it now. If you're wondering about the pricing for this, it is largely free. So if you have a free account and you go to Gemini, you can just go to googlegemini.com or you can just install the app on the App Store. So for example, this is the Android app that you can use. This is literally just going to give you access to the AI. And this is the one on the iOS store. Just make sure you install this. This is like the one that you'd want to use. And if you're wondering about the pricing for this, I would suggest that if you don't want to pay for this, if you have a free account, you usually get a few uses of this. But if that doesn't work and you run out of uses, just use a different Gmail account and then you can run up your daily uses on that account if you really, really don't want to pay for any kind of subscription. And if you're wondering if you can do this with ChatGPT, a little known trick is that yes, you can. Most people don't realize that if you put in your image and you kind of hit this edit selection thing right here, or you simply just, let's say, for example, you go to a new chat and you put the image in right here, and then you hit this button right here, and then you put add a homeless man, it will work. But the only problem with ChatGPT is that ChatGPT, the image consistency is just not there. So I would try out Google Gemini as much as you can because that is the only one that works. And so with ChatGPT, the same can be achieved, but it just won't be consistent. I know right now, like I do have the image there. And you can see that I said add a homeless man standing in the doorway. I've then taken that same homeless man, took the same chat, and then I said put a homeless man in the bed. And whilst yes, in some images, it does look the same. The problem is that you can't tell the difference right now because the background is AI generated. But when you see your home regenerated, because ChatGPT regenerates the entire image, it won't work as well because it actually regenerates the entire thing. And the person you're trying to trick with this AI image, they won't fall for it because there will be very small differences that their brain is going to easily pick up on. So ChatGPT can work, but it just won't work as well.